1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
Banjo Land, Mike Heading here, coming to you today with another detailed backup lesson. I always get requests to do more backup lessons. Backup was one thing that I really struggled with in my own personal playing, and when I learned to play backup, I felt like it really moved my playing forward, and I want to help you with that as well. I've done some classic bluegrass backup in the past, but for this lesson I wanted to specifically focus on faster tempo tunes. So we're going to do breakdown backup. So how do you play backup on a song that's 280 BPM, 300 BPM, something like that? So I've got 3 versions worked up. The first one is going to kind of follow the form of Foggy Mountain Breakdown. So we're going to use an E minor chord along with G and D. The second version is going to use an F chord, very similar to the classic tune Bluegrass Breakdown, if you've heard that classic Bill Monroe tune. And then the third version is going to use a C chord, which you could use for the B part of Bluegrass Breakdown, or a tune like Shuckin' the Corn, any fast tune with a C. So I've got 3 versions. I'll break them down note for note, exactly how I played it at the beginning of the lesson, tell you my thought process, again, show you some tips and tricks on how to get faster. We'll break all that down in this lesson. All right, let's jump into it. All right, so let's start breaking down this first version of faster backup you can use for banjo breakdown tunes, so tunes that are played a lot faster. Again, we're going to simplify our right and left hands to allow us to play faster. Okay, so let's break this down into 8 measure sections, and that'll be halfway through. It's a 16 bar tune, and then we'll break it down, okay? I'll play the first 8 measures. Here we go. Times. I'll speed it up a little bit. One time even a little faster. And one time really slow. One of the keys to playing faster is you kind of have to simplify your playing, right? So you can't play all your fancy, super fancy licks at a super fast tempo, right? So one thing I'm just initially thinking off the bat is simplifying my right and left hands. You know, I'm sticking with classic bluegrass licks that I feel really comfortable with. I'm sticking with forward roll, I'm sticking with forward reverse roll, kind of the, you know, some more common rolls. The forward roll adds a lot of drive, a lot of forward momentum, so I like to use that one a lot on faster songs. So again, I think a common misconception is that you can play everything you can play fast, or everything you can play slow rather, you can play fast as well. But I think a real big key to playing faster is learning how to simplify your playing. So learning what not to play at a faster tempo, because you just physically can't play everything that you can play slow that you can play fast, obviously, right? So that's what we're going to kind of focus on for this lesson, and I'll show you again how I break it down, and I'll show you kind of my thought process on how I created this arrangement, okay? So let's jump into it. So measure 1, I'm just starting with a classic pinch and slide. So I'm pinching strings 3 and 1, and then a 2-5 slide on the 4th string with 2 forward rolls. Probably seen that lick before. You could also play it with just your thumb on the 3rd string if you didn't want to do that pinch, but I like that pinch. It just adds kind of a pow. You know, I think of it as really setting the tempo there. You can't loop it because it starts with the pinch, but that's like with your thumb. starting with that forward roll, keeping that forward momentum going, right? And then we're just going to play another little fill lick, another one that you can do fast. So we do the 5th string, 5, 3, 1, forward roll, back to the 5th string, and then backwards. So we have. So again, just 2 very basic licks, but we're playing this a very fast tempo, so we have to keep it simple. And then our classic scruggs lick that you know. And then our open 3rd string, and then another fill lick. And this time I used the open 4th string, which is going to set up the E minor, right? So we went. So again, nothing fancy about those first 4 measures. We're really thinking rhythmically, we're thinking keeping the momentum going, keeping the drive going. One thing I might do is kind of accent that initial pinch, and then accent this slide, and then I might do a little accent here. Do it a little faster. Faster still. One thing you can do is just play the right hand on its own, pretend they're all zeros. We're really using that same roll almost in measure 2, 3, and 4, just a slight variation, right? It's that kind of forward reverse roll. We're doing that a lot, and in conjunction with the forward roll, right? So one more time. And nothing really here sets up, like, we're not spelling out an E minor chord yet or anything like that. So again, you could use these first 4 measures as an intro to any song, even a slower tempo song, you know. So again, use these pieces of these backup arrangements and take pieces of it and apply it to other songs you know. So, because all this stuff would also work at a slower tempo too, right? So if you're a beginner that's struggling with backup, use this on a slower tempo song, and then it gives you a blueprint of how you can play it faster as well, okay? So one more time. Open 2 hammer on into an E minor. So what I do is I put my 3rd finger down first on the 2nd fret of the 1st string, which kind of gives me an anchor point, and then I'm going to do an open 2 hammer on while doing a forward roll. So I'm going 4, 3, 1, and then 5, 3, 1, and then 4, 1. Again, nothing super special about that roll. We're just trying to keep that forward momentum going. And then a forward reverse roll. And the only thing I did here is a little scruggs trick. I took my 3rd finger off early and played the open 1st string in measure 6. And that's totally optional, but that's something that Scruggs would do a lot in his arrangements. To me, I don't know exactly why he did that, but my guess would be is you're just getting back to that open G a little bit earlier, which on a faster song helps, right? So I'm going. So I'm just kind of getting that ready. And then I go back into my classic Scruggs lick. Again, we're going to use that classic Scruggs lick a lot. Something like that too is don't get too caught up in whether you do a slide or if you do a hammer on. Those are totally interchangeable. So again, at a faster tempo, whichever one kind of pops out, if you do the slide or the hammer on, just keep rolling with it. No pun intended, right? So just keep moving. Don't get caught up on a little detail like that at a faster tempo, right? So let's play that E minor lick. So a little faster. And then a Scruggs lick. And then measure 8's a little walk down back into the E minor. We're going to hit the open 3rd string. And then the outside strings, and then I'm going to use my 3rd finger on the 4th fret, and then the outside strings again. So you have, we're going to walk down to this note. So what we want to hear is, Or if you played it all on the same string, it'd be the 5th fret, 4th fret, E minor. Just walking down to that E minor, 5th fret and the open 3rd string are obviously the same note. So we have, that's what we want to hear there. So not too hard, right? So we're going. That's another spot where I might accent that. You know, those outside strings are kind of filler, right? So we're going. So we just want to hear that little walk down, okay? So let's play those first 8 measures. I'll do it slow and then I'll speed it up. E minor. G. A little faster. So another thing too is, you know, as you get faster, you have to kind of lighten up your touch. Remember to keep breathing. Don't start holding your breath when you start playing faster. All those little things are going to make a difference, right? So, you know, I play a little softer when I'm playing faster. You know, keep your hands relaxed. Be proactive in staying relaxed. Because if you get tense, it's going to be super hard to play fast, right? The other thing I'll mention too is how important it is to warm up before, you know, you're not just going to be able to pull the banjo out of the case and play, you know, 280 beats a minute, right? Or at least I can't. So, you know, I warmed up a little bit before this video to play faster. So that's obviously another thing you got to remember too, is to get to your full speed, you gotta do a proper warm up, okay? So let's play that part again, then we'll move on. Now we're going back into an E minor chord. Open 2 hammer on this time with the forward roll. So I did 4, 3, 1, 5 there. So T, I, M, T. And then index finger on the 3rd string, really important. And then pinch the outside strings. Just another E minor lick. Notice how we're using that forward roll, like I said, to keep the momentum, and then we're using those pinches to kind of accent. Kind of exaggerating it there, but you can hear that I like to just add that little rhythmic pop. And then another forward reverse roll on E minor. Again, taking the 3rd finger off a little early. Scruggs would do that on a C chord as well. You might have seen that on like a C, you know. But he also would do it on an E minor, so. And then our Scruggs lick. Forward roll, slide lick. And that's just going to set up a D. So we're going from a G down to a D, right? So instead of like walking it down, we're kind of doing more like a Scruggs style roll. And then open. Here's a D lick, open. You've probably seen this one before. Open 4th string. Open 1st string twice, 2, 3 hammer on the 2nd string. So my thumb in my right hand comes down, I do thumb middle, keep that 3rd fret down, and then a forward reverse roll. And then I'll take your 2nd finger off and then do a 3-2 pull off. And then into our Scruggs lick. And then open 3rd string, and then 5, 3, 1 twice. Just a fill lick, so we have. Is accent the 4th string and then accent these, and then I also like to accent this kind of hammer on, and then I like to accent the pull off. So we have. Measure 13 and 14 could also be used as like a G lick. So that's kind of a lick you can use in a couple different spots. The other thing with this banjo breakdown backup is on the D chord, I like to play it like a little bit more of a lick, right? You know, so the lead player might be playing like a lick there as well. But I think that's just a kind of a cool thing I've seen banjo players do a lot is on that D chord, just play a little bit more. Like it's kind of the ending of it. We've kind of kept it pretty simple up until that point. So that's just a spot where you can kind of stretch out. You know, again, we're not going crazy, but we're just stretching out a little bit there. We're playing, again, a more noticeable melodic lick there. The other thing I practice, again, when I'm playing faster is really reducing the movements of my left hand and right hand, right? But, you know, really notice, you know, I see some people have a bad habit of maybe doing like these super big hammer-ons where their hand is moving a lot more than they need to. You know, I'm obviously kind of over-exaggerating it there, but all those little movements are going to make a big difference at a faster tempo, right? So keep those movements really minimal. So let's play 9 through 16. So we have... version 1 using the E minor chord. So you could play that, you know, a couple times, multiple times in a row if you wanted to play the backup to Foggy Mountain Breakdown. Usually Foggy Mountain Breakdown would play through that form twice, but that's the basic form of Foggy Mountain Breakdown, right? So the other thing you could do is take little pieces of it and move them around. You know, maybe I play the forward roll lick maybe as measure 1, right? So I play measure 16 now as measure 1. Any of those little fragments of G are more or less going to be interchangeable, right? So again, this is you know, you can kind of do it either way, whatever way feels more comfortable for you. You could try and memorize the entire tab, or just take little fragments of it and try and build your own little version. So I would personally recommend probably doing a little bit of both, right? I think it's going to be hard to memorize the entire tab. You know, I don't even have it memorized, right? So I certainly maybe wouldn't advise trying to memorize the whole thing and play it one certain way, but I would use these as little tools. Each little measure can be a little piece in the puzzle that you're now putting together in your own way. Notice how we really lean on those classic licks, you know, or even, you know, all those licks have been used so many times, and there's something to that, and there's something pleasing to the ear when you hear a lick that you've heard before too, I think. So that's the first version. You know, practice it, try to speed it up, take it slow first, obviously. And the other thing I would do is separate the two hands, like I always say. Play just the right hand on its own, pretend they're all zeros, and play through the whole song, forgetting the left hand completely. Make sure you've got the right hand down. The right hand in this case, probably on a faster song, is going to be the culprit, right? Actually, what we're doing with our left hand in this lesson isn't very difficult relative to what we're doing with our right hand, right? So that's the first version. Now let's break down another 16 bars using an F chord instead of the E minor. So another classic Bluegrass Breakdown song is called Bluegrass Breakdown, written by Bill Monroe, a very early bluegrass instrumental. I think maybe even one of the first ones. But it used the F chord, and then on the third time it used the C chord. So that's the second and third version that we'll break down right now. Let's break it down with an F chord.